Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and we're going to take a walk to the shop, but I wanted to show you what I have in my front yard. 2 deer, a baby, another deer, and there was a bunny rabbit over there. But we're going to walk over to the shop here. Regular Grizzly Bob, ain't I? I almost got one wanting to eat out of my hand. I've been trying with Fred. Right there she is. She's camera shy. Anyway, today we're going to do the next part of the wood splitter build, and today we'll be focused on the tank. We're going to put the tank together. I've already got it painted and cleaned up. I cleaned the inside of it, and it's nice and dry and clean inside. There's nothing in it. I took a vacuum cleaner and adapted it to fit this. Put my hand over that and blowed down into here with the air and let all that stuff get swirled around until finally all of it went into the vacuum cleaner. So we'll get set up and we'll put this thing together. I've already got the fittings done. They're hanging right there. So stay tuned. Alright, so now I've got all my parts cleaned up, and I did these in flat black. Now we gotta be careful when we go to put them together that we don't skin them, but that's pretty much inevitable. What's gonna happen. This one here was galvanized and it wasn't rusting, so I just left it the way it was to kind of break up the black a little bit. So this will be the first piece that goes in. Just like that. Then this piece, and so on. So what I'm going to do is make sure everything's nice and clean, and it is. And we're going to use Gray 999 gasket maker. I'll just put a healthy bead around it. Hope I got enough of it. Stuff hard to come by. So then I'll just take my finger and just kind of bring it down a little bit. Might have put too much on it. So we got enough to put on another one. Let me put some of it on another one. Alright, so we got that one done. Now you just gotta be careful not to touch it and get it all over everything else. I think I had just way too much on this. We just want to make the silicone as high as the threads are. So that will go in. And these threads are a devil to get started. You don't hold your mouth just right. Was I holding my mouth right, just right? I don't know, I wasn't looking at myself, you guys was. So we'll just tighten that as tight as we can get it by hand. And then when we go to tighten that up, that will tighten up with it. So now we can go ahead and put this piece in. Make sure I ain't got none of that silicone all over my fingers. Alright, it's going to point in that direction. So then we got the other reducer that goes on this. So we'll take what's left over from what we had, transfer it to this one. Since this stuff's like gold and you gotta make sure you got enough to do the whole job. Now you see what I mean by touching it with silicone all over your fingers? Alright, then we'll, same thing with this one. Fill them threads up. And screw her in. Probably should have found my wrench before I put that on there. Alright, so now I'm going to clean my fingers off. Start from scratch again. Because I'm going to go ahead and do this one up here. So we'll do this one the same way. Just won't put as much on this time. I'll only do about a third of it. I think I overestimated the first one. And there you got it. And this one points in that direction. It's like a little bit further, but we'll take a screwdriver and turn that to where we think it's going to be, which I'm pretty sure is about right there because I want it to come down and kind of go around. That would be this one right here, goes to that. And it's only about right here. So now we'll go ahead and put the nipple in. And we'll put thread stuff on it too. Probably ought to do a little bit more than that. They're dry on that one. There we go. And this is what feeds the pump. And there's no way I'm not going to skin that up, tighten it up, because I'm going to have to use a pipe wrench to do it. So that sucks. Maybe I can grab it by the barbs, but I really don't want to do that. So we got this one tight, and that one I'll tighten up later. Just know that that's going to be done before it's in use. So why don't we just go ahead and do that right now and hope that That's what I got the big old pry bar for. Now this is going to tighten this piece and this piece. And we want it to point in that direction. And I believe this will be the last turn. So we're going to go ahead and square this off. A little bit more square. Just a hair more. Alright, we are going straight across. So now we need to tighten this up. So we gotta find the wrench. You can tell how often I use these. Trying not to skin them up too awful bad. And hit the silicone and run it all over the place. Alright, that's tight enough for that one. And we need the pipe wrench for that one. And this is going to get skinned. So I might have to touch it up. It would help if I went the right direction, wouldn't it? And that ought to have enough. And look at me, I touched it again. I'll let that dry, and then when it dries, you can just take a razor or a knife or something and just peel that up out of there. Alright, so now, be careful not to touch it. Now we get to do our fill. So, this is what it consists of. I made these gaskets today, and this here was made from the membrane that you use on the top of campers to keep the roof from leaking. It's a rubber membrane. And I got a couple rolls of that stuff, and I got one that's got black on one side and yellow on the other, and then I got another one that's got blue and white. Blue on one side and white on the other. So we're going to put the orange face or yellow facing down, and we'll put this thing together. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and make a gasket for this. And we're going to use that same stuff. Alright, so now I got a spot on my Alright, so now in addition to the original rubber gasket, we're going to put both of these in there. Basically, we're going to use mine as a filler. And then we'll put this one in on top of it. And hope we're not too far or too much. So now we'll try it out. Look at that, nice tight fit. Yep, that'll work. And it doesn't go all the way down to the threads or to the bolts. So now we've got a, I think it's actually designed as a breather because it's supposed to be that way. I started investigating it, and I seen that point right there. That tells me that this is a breather cap. But I broke my damn chain off. Oh well, I didn't need it anyway. So we got the tank done. We might have to adjust these a little bit depending on, I know this one I'll have to adjust. This one I don't. This one here, it just depends on where the hose lands. So then I've got my hydraulic oil only sticker, vinyl sticker that's coming. I'll show you a picture of that right now. And I got 3 of them because I didn't know if I wanted to put one on the back, one on the front, and one on the front, and then one on the side. Or maybe just one up here and one on the side. I don't know. They were so cheap, I said, hell, let me just get 3 of them. I might need it somewhere else. So, but cleaning that out, I was telling you guys, these screws right here, I just had a bunch of these. They're still greasy from being in there. And I just throwed them in there, put that ½ gallon of gas in there, and set this thing right here where it's setting, but this way, with a tube or a steel drive shaft tube that I had laying here that's hollow and ends cut off of it. I just sat there and rocked it back and forth and slammed the screws and just kept doing that back and forth and checking it. And then when the gas got dirty, I just put another ½ gallon in it after I cleaned all the other out. And then I took a rag and stuck it in this hole and got up here with this rod right here and used that as my hands to move the rag around underneath of it or inside of it to clean it out. So that's how I dried it out too. I dipped the rag in gas, and gas will evaporate really quick, so anything wet will disappear. So that'll work. Hope you guys enjoyed this and learned something about how to properly put your fittings into your tank and get it prepared for use. Now we're only going to have 2 mounts on this, one on this corner and one on this corner. This corner's not going to be mounted because unless I change this, I may yet change it, I don't know. Thought this was going to end, didn't you? I fooled you, didn't I? When they put this piece of metal in here, they didn't go all the way. And don't ask me why. If you're going to do it all the way. Especially if you've got a hole there that needs it. So it might be in far enough that I can still use this to put a bolt hole in there. But they had it welded here. That's how come it's cut like that. So I just had to cut the weld and dig into it that deep to get it off. I was trying not to mess this up too much. I messed it up a little bit and made it thinner there, but that's okay. Once it's grinded down and smoothed, and you'll never even know it was there. Plus, I had to cut it right here with the grinder because it had a weld on the bracket itself right here on this side. So I don't know why they used a bolt there and a bolt there, but then they welded that one, and that side there didn't have nothing. So imagine that, right? We're still working on getting the axle ready to weld. This is my way of protecting the surface so that it doesn't get weld spots on it, or weld craters, or whatever you want to call it. The shit that screws up your life. And this one here is ready to weld. I've already drilled my holes in this one. I still got to drill the holes in the other, and I'm not going to get started welding on it until I've got all the pieces ready. And it's bam, 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 it's done. So there's the tank done. It should not leak. It's double gasketed. So they only had one gasket on it, and this was it. Check that out, guys. There's nothing round about that. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later. Oh, and there's the new valve. Got my new handle.